The body screamed when we brought them back. Its face contorted, mouth gaping wide, eyes bulging from their sockets, nostrils flared. Then the screaming began. It was a distorted scream, not unearthly, though it could be described as such. But that was only because the sound destroyed its own vocal cords and esophagus under the sheer strain of what it was trying to emit. It was the sound of an animal fighting with every fiber of its being to escape. The scream filled the small room, reverberating through the glassware, tearing through me and likely everyone present. It peaked as the body began to shake violently, its hands clawing at its own flesh, as if something unseen had gripped it from the inside. The legs trembled with frenetic energy, as if they were desperate to run, before twisting violently to one side. A sickening crack signaled the snapping of the hip. The body collapsed, falling from the table, its head striking the cold floor with a wet smack. The screaming dragged on for another 5 frail seconds, then stopped with a final, broken whimper. Revitalized blood began to pool from the fractured skull, the leg bent at an unnatural angle. The noise that had escaped from that corpse felt like something being burned alive or torn apart. Not that I know what those things sound like, but I imagined that would be the closest approximation. I wanted to end the tests there and then, but the others insisted we'd had a breakthrough, and we had to see it completed. With the second subject, we took no risks. He was strapped tightly to the bench before we began. Another male, mid-40s, dead from a heart attack. My own body tensed in anticipation of what was to come. The injection was administered and, much like the first, the body responded with small, twitching bursts of energy before the spasms began. Bound at the limbs and forehead, its movements were restricted but not silenced. No amount of hearing protection could shield us from the guttural growls and screams that forced their way out of the subject's throat. The entire table rattled beneath him, restraints tightening and tearing deep into the flesh, as freshly reanimated blood began to leak from the wounds. Between each shriek and convulsion, the mouth snapped open and shut violently until the tongue was chewed and torn apart. The subject choked on his own blood less than a minute after revival. We had been instructed to intervene only if the subject could be reasonably calmed. If they expired again, the company would simply supply more bodies and more funding. It didn't matter the sex, the race, the build, the age, the health before death, or how they died. They all came back screaming. After staggering through weeks of what could only be described as unholy experiments, we began testing different methods.